Welcome to JCTV Spotlight on the Arts. I'm Rick Jey, your host, coming to you from the Missouri capital city of Jefferson City, Missouri. Today on Spotlight on the Arts, I have a special guest returning, Mr. Essex Garner of Jefferson City. And with us also is retired Missouri Highway Patrolman, that's Captain Roger Whitler. Mr. Garner, welcome to Spotlight on the Arts again. I'm truly excited to, again, turn the spotlight on you today. You know, you was with us last on Mid-Missouri Art News, episode number 3. That's 33 shows ago. That was back in December of 2016. So much has happened these past 2 years, I guess, not only my life, but yours. So I'm going to ask you first to bring us up to date on your interesting life. I believe I'll just turn it over to you and let you share with our viewers those highlights of your life in all aspects these past 2 years. And then after the break, we'll fill us in on the specifics of your art and your itinerary of the future planned beginnings. So well, Essex, I'll just turn it over to you now and I'll let you fly with it. Those interesting things that's happened the last 2 years. I know you've got a lot on the, shall we say, the front burner.
I stopped watching the news. Interesting. I mean, I'm trying to be funny, but it's a lot going on in the world. So I'm not saying I'm turning the world off. I just learned when I go home and get in the studio, I turn the world off. It's just, I right now, what this hurricanes down in Florida, you can go on and on and on. So what's been going on in my life, I stopped watching the news. Right. We had a new semester here at Lincoln University. A lot of students graduated last semester. That was really unique to see them all get their diplomas and go on about their lives. But then you get this new group of incoming freshmen. It's kind of like starting all over again. Well, It is starting all over again. So getting acclimated to that, we have a new provost, Dr. Alfonso Sanders, up under Dr. Woolfolk, our current president. He is a Mississippi blues man, so he is a friend of the humanities. Thank you. And I think I should be able to ask him about Robert Johnson. So if he's, a Mississippi blues man and, curator of the Muddy Waters Museum, I think he should have an answer. What really happened to Robert Johnson?
Yes.
So he's listening to this. I want to know what happened to Robert Johnson. Sitting next to me is my golfing buddy. This is Roger. I call him Roger. You call him something else, Whitler or whatever. He's retired from the Highway Patrol. He talked me into, I want to say probably about a year ago. Been probably, because to get me to agree to it, he would have had to have been a year ago on a project for the Missouri. You know what, Roger, how about if we let you talk about that fund so I don't screw anything up here?
Well, Essex and I are great friends, and we started in 2015 with the Missouri State Highway Patrol Trooper Monument Fund. And we started that fundraising process in 2015, and as most philanthropic projects go, it started out slow. The idea was to build a monument to honor past, present, and trooper highway patrol officers and to bring enthusiasm towards public service. Yes. And having a relationship with Essex, I would go in his home many times and I would see the paintings he was working on, and I thought, well, how great if we could have one of Essex's pieces as a fundraiser for the monument. to get people enthused about the monument, to provide a beautiful piece of art that would show all of our respect for public service and honor service, and let our young people know, provide an educational opportunity for students who go to our museum every year, and have that displayed in our homes, our offices. I think is just a great outcome for the monument and for everyone who gets one of the paintings, because Essex is a great artist.
And for the public.
Yes.
Definitely. So Essex is developing somewhat of an example or a workup in a painting form.
Ooh, let's not get down in the weeds about this, because we've been working on this for a while, and we've had to go through some interesting analysis of how this watercolor is coming out, because remember, you don't get a do-over with watercolor.
Exactly.
So he approaches me about the painting, and I said fine, and we start working on it, and I'm bouncing ideas off of him. So we have the original sculptor, Barbara
Munganast.
Thank you. See, that way I don't screw her name up.
Yes.
She did the sculpture, then Highway Patrol finds out how expensive bronze really is.
Yes.
Ta-da. So we're doing the watercolor, selling the prints, the disposition of the original, that's beside the point. We had to get models.
Sure.
Because for her original maquette, it didn't, well, I'm not going to get into details. All right, so we had to get models, so he gets me some volunteers. I go out to the patrol, Troop F, and I meet Lieutenant White. He models. Then he brings this really huge guy over, Sergeant Tauber. And let me give you an idea of this sculpture. So it's called Life to Bronze. Starting out, you're alive, doing the walking, breathing thing, and there's a lady in the middle with a canine dog, German Shepherd.
Oh, awesome. That sounds awesome.
Now you can see the dog at the top, he's alive, but down at the bottom, he's bronze. Now the female patrol officer who's with the dog, she's alive at the bottom and bronze at the top. Now Sergeant Talbert is completely alive. You can see the color, you can see the blue in the uniform. Now White on the proper right side of the watercolor, he's full bronze. So you see the transition from life to bronze, from left to right. It's really interesting. I like it personally.
It sounds like it's going to be.
So when we finish it, which is next couple days, it's been a while. He has a disposition of how he's going to come out with the Giclée prints, and then my hands are done. So they'll sell it through the Missouri
Troopers Association.
Troopers Association, however they do that. But they're trying to get 28 grand.
I see.
Art's expensive, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Definitely sounds like it'd be a successful project. Now, where will the bronze be located?
In front of
Dimension-wise, are we talking?
Right. We expect it to be 1.5, which is 1.5 life size. So we anticipate that the statues of the three figures will be approximately 9 feet tall, and they'll be on a base in front of General Headquarters, which is located at 1510 East Elm Street here in Jefferson City.
Yes.
So not quite as tall as the Ed Dwight pieces out in the quads. Those are about 7 to 8, so roughly about the same.
It's still going to be, it sounds like really impressive, and it's going to be, a lot of people will be driving through maybe the area just to see. I guess you have to watch your driving on the way, though. Exiting and entering, all super. Sound like a project. Do you have any other comments, Mr. Whitler?
And thank you. This idea, like I said, it started in 2015, and we would really like to put these prints up for sale on our website, MissouriTrooperFund.org, and it's nonprofit. All proceeds from the sale of the watercolor will go towards the monument to honor service of members of the Missouri State Highway Patrol, to encourage young people into public service, and to reflect on our love of those who dedicate themselves to protecting us all.
Right. Now, we're going to get a look at that on the timeline and the website within the programming today, so they'll get a look at it once the editing is done. So that sounds great. What a project. I'm so glad you could share it with JCTV and me personally here on the show. Well, Essex, is there anything else that you'd like to cover in those last 2 years? I think we talked about a piece, a Buffalo Soldier painting that was going to be on display at one of the state museums.
I plan on, I usually submit to the Best of America, National Wallet. Well, I haven't for the last couple of years. I haven't had time, which is the name of your exhibit, if you want to bring that up.
Yes, time.
I'm finding how time is so precious. You know, we think we have a lot of it till we need it.
All right.
So I plan on submitting a piece that I've been working on, Time Traveler. We'll see how that goes to the Best of America for the online. I've never submitted the online. I've always done the traditional way. Let's see. You talked me into an exhibit.
Yes.
At the, I'm just going to provide the artwork.
Yes, that's going to be as a featured artist, which we'll cover after the break, on the Jefferson City Art Club website, and also 6 weeks at the DMV South location in Jefferson City. Stay with us, if you will. We look forward to hearing more of what's happening in 2019 and on into 2020 from Mr. Garner. So there's so much more here on Spotlight on the Arts. Stay with us.
We can all be energy savers. It's easy. Turn off lights. Use energy-saving light bulbs. And turn off electronics and appliances when not in use. Make a change and we can really fly. Learn more at energy.gov/kids.
Welcome back to JCTV Spotlight on the Arts. I continue with my special guest today, artist Mr. Essex Garner, and Captain Roger Whitler, a retired Missouri State Highway Patrol, who's working on a project with Mr. Gardner. Well, Essex, before the break, you shared a lot of information, so let's continue along those lines of thought and expression. I'd like to point out that beginning September 20th through November 1st of 2019, you're the featured artist on the Jefferson City Art Club website, which will give you a chance to share some of your favorite artworks that we'll see here on the timeline, but also in a live presentation there at the DMV in South Jefferson City. Also, they may view the website as www.jeffersoncityartclub-missouri.com. So we'll throw that in so you all can see it. If you can't get out to see the exhibition at the DMV, then you can go online see the exhibit. Well, Essex, a lot has happened again. Even this year, we've had a tornado, we've had water damage, flood out. Dr. Naya Betty was with us last month, talked a little bit about how you folks look as instructors and doctors at your students. And I understand those students at the Lincoln University, some of them did go through a little bit of a turmoil during the tornado. Would you like to share a little bit about that before we talk art again?
Well, there's a sense of irony here because what we did with the Fine Arts program, for community exposure, we decided to, instead of sending the award winners for the Spring Art Exhibit to Memorial, we decided to take it down to Capitol Arts Gallery for the award winners.
Yes.
So everybody got the best show, judges merit, honorable mentions, President's Award, provost, da-da-da-da-da. Piece of cake. Get all the artwork together, take it down to Capitol Arts. They gave us the whole end of the gallery. The next day, literally, and I'm not sure if it was within 24 to 48 hours, that whole area got flooded from the skating ring. And through Park and Recs, that area up underneath the Capitol Arts is for storage. I think they learned a lesson from the last time.
Yes.
Don't put any expensive stuff downstairs.
Right.
So it all got flooded. Oh. And the entire exhibit was basically pulled up and put on hold for weeks. Ah. So, the date of the art exhibit's over. I kind of know what's going to happen, but I physically want to go in there and have her tell me. Sure. She said, "Oh, Essex, by the way, we weren't able to have your exhibit." And I'm like, okay, that wasn't rocket science. So they extended the award winners into the August show.
Oh, I see.
A couple days later, if you weren't paying attention, it was on the national news, we got hit by a tornado.
Yes.
And we were really lucky. Because as far as I know, stats, more than the traffic and life stats, I think in Jefferson City and the surrounding areas, less maybe Eldon,
right, there
was no fatalities.
No.
That would be a truism, right?
Right.
Because I even looked at the president's mansion. And I think Chief called her, said, get in the basement, because I met her over at the memorial. They had the new headstones that were going in for the colored infantry soldiers. And I saw her, and I went, God, she's here. Okay, she's cool. I was really happy to see her. That she wasn't. But Chief called her, said, get in the basement. And when we drove out the next day, that movie Twister?
Yes, definitely.
Well, basically that was it. Right. So a lot of my students lost their cars, apartments.
There's homes basically destroyed within half a block from the university.
Simonson, yes, Simonson. I'm still trying to figure out how the high school figured out the difference between splitting up the ninth grade between the new high school and the current high school, which was also heavily damaged.
Yes.
I just thought that was interesting how they actually pulled all that off, because now I have a daughter in the 10th grade, and I was over there watching, looking at the new construction. That fascinated me, how we got through all that, but there was no one.
The students turned to you.
Some of them didn't come back because they didn't have they were wiped out.
Oh, I see.
I mean, they literally were, what their names are is not necessarily important, but a large majority. And you have to be cognizant of that when you're doing their enrollment, Okay, I saw your apartment, what was your apartment.
Right. So your new students now, you're beginning anew, which I know that the staff treats these students like their own children and takes an interest in their lives, especially now from the art department with you and Mr. Crow and Dr.
Niberia, David.
Yeah, David. So that's great. So you were affected. I just wanted the audience, our viewers, to know that they were somewhat affected, and they're dealing with it as usual. So then what's going to, see, as far as the Jefferson City Art Club, back to that, they will be beginning their regular season beginning September, the first meeting in about 2 weeks. And so you're invited to that. That's the third Monday. And they was also the location of the church that they met in. Has been reassigned since the church was hit in that same tornado to the Hawthorne Bank community facility over by Capitol Mall. So that's that 5:30 meeting every third Monday of every month for the next 6-7 months. So we invite you to come to the meetings also and partake in any of the projects that they hold annually. So that's great. Now, so looking ahead now, give us somewhat of a timeline. You will be hanging at the DMV within the next few days.
I sent you all the data on the paintings, mostly
Yes.
prints, because most of my originals are sold. So, and I'm pretty reasonable, but I need to explain to you why, because a lot of people say, whoa, all the Buffalo Soldier paintings and colored infantry soldier, and there's probably about 30 of them.
Yes.
Wow, I just heard that come out of my mouth. I need you to remember, the reason I didn't put any of that with that exhibit, I left one per side, one for the colored infantry side. I think
Excellent.
it's Brothers of Brother Johnson, Things to Make You Go Home with me and Floyd. This guy was retired with out of the National
Aretha
Guard.
Franklin.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Aretha Franklin's in there. I sold that.
Michelle Obama.
Sold that, yeah.
there's-
I don't think Michelle was in there, because you said stay away from politics.
Oh, yes.
You did stay away from politics.
well,
So I didn't put Michelle.
agree.
But I want to explain to you why. Now, the entire colored infantry series and about half of a quarter of the Buffalo Soldier paintings are hanging in Memorial
That's Memorial at
Hall.
Lincoln
At Lincoln.
University.
There you go,
Memorial
right
Hall.
outside the dead white sculpture. Contact Liz Morrow. Look through alumni affairs. You can visit there. So that was one of the reasons I left the Buffalo Soldiers and colored infantry out. And then the second part is there's a permanent exhibit at the Bruce Watkins in Kansas City.
Yes.
The entire library is just Buffalo Soldiers.
Oh, excellent. Yeah,
So
excellent.
that's why you only got one image of one Buffalo Soldier and one image of colored
So
infantry.
you've got to go see these exhibits. They're in Kansas City and at the Lincoln University,
Yeah,
right
and-
here at Memorial Hall. So if you really want to see the history of the colored infantry and the Buffalo Soldiers, and some of those, your Native American paintings, I have
I think there's one in there
one
with,
in there.
with this
So
exhibit.
it's really a treat. And you can actually go to the DMV in South Jeff City and actually view those now within the next 6 weeks. So that's great to hear. Well, would you like to share, Essex, if I may call you by your first name, your website address, email, phone number, whatever, that you would like to share with people if they would like to see, sit down with you and talk about a commission, maybe possibly on another project like Mr. Whitler's and his crew. Not giving away.
EssexGarner.com is my website.
Okay, that's,
There's a link on Facebook through my website. Primarily, most of my friends on Facebook, I guess, are either dealing with historical societies, Buffalo Soldiers, motorcycle and horse, and a lot of reenactors. So, but my artwork and updates, it usually comes out at EssexGarner.com.
okay.
But most of the interaction I do on Facebook has to do with either one of the chapters in Leavenworth, Nicodemus, Kansas City, or Texas. And I did not know that there were that many motorcycle Buffalo Soldier chapters statewide until it started getting friend requests and started looking. I was like, I think every state has a chapter with it. What I'm talking to them is to have to remind them I am actually in the original horse chapter, not
motorcycle.
Same hat, pretty much, but it's a lot of the same charitable deeds are done through it. But it's a really great group of folks. I am scheduled in 2022 to go back to the Bruce Watkins.
Oh, excellent, excellent. And you're full-time doctorate at the university.
Professor.
Professor,
I like Essex about it.
Essex,
Just Essex.
okay. So he's full-time,
Hart, yeah.
and your students, if you're thinking about enrolling at Lincoln, you've talked to and heard from two key figures.
And we have a great art
hopefully,
education program. And
art
studio art.
education. Mr. Jim Crow, we hope to have him talked in setting at the round table in the future. So,
Oh,
well,
he will be. We already
just,
talked over coffee.
twist both arms,
He
one
can't
of
wait to come and talk to you next.
that's good to hear.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for contributing to Spotlights on the Arts, Mr. Garner, and also Captain Whitler. Thanks for being here and filling us in. It's been a great conversation here at the table. We look forward to this project coming to fruition, yours and your many projects that seem to just keep you very busy. So
Don't
thanks
have
again,
enough time.
Essex.
Time.
And Mr. Whitler, do you have any closing comments?
Just want to thank Essex for taking on our proposal to do a painting. He has spent months and months of painstaking handmade detail into this piece of art. It's watercolor, and we just thank him, and we thank you for having us on Roundtable.
Super.
He hasn't got my bill yet. Right. Don't worry.
That's not like a hole-in-one. Okay, well, thanks again. I guess we'll close it out now and say my thanks to the gentleman once again, and also to our JCTV producer, Gloria Enlow, and crew. Art Gerhardt working the controls today, and thank you, our viewers, for joining us. Look for more Spotlight on the Arts right here, JCTV, and don't forget YouTube. I'm Rick Jey saying see you next time.